Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Samantha and I am a homeschool mom of 3, 6, almost 4, and a 1.5-year-old. And I'm a newbie homeschool mom. It's our first year doing this, and we started school 8 weeks ago. And so we are getting ready. We are finishing one more day of school, and then we are going on a 10-day break over the Labor Day week. While everyone goes back to school, we're going to take the week off, and we're going to enjoy just having some beach days and some summer fun without busyness, and we're really looking forward to our break, and it's a much needed break. We are going to be following, if you don't haven't seen any of my other videos, we're going to be doing a year-round school schedule for now, and so far we have loved it. We started the second week of July and have gone until the last week of August, and we have really enjoyed homeschooling, and there's been lots of ups and downs, but I wanted to go over some things that have changed and things that I have learned and all of that. So I did take notes, so if I look down, that's what I'm looking at, but I just wanted to recap for myself and for those of you who are following my journey, and just kind of share how things are going. So we started, like I said, 8 weeks ago, and we are using a variety of curriculum that you can see and I'll put it in the links below so you can see the curriculum that we had been using. And we, for my son, we're doing a reading curriculum from the IEW PAL program, and we hit kind of a wall with that about week 4 or 5. It just kind of, we moved through it pretty quickly because my son already knew a lot of stuff, and so we kind of went through it and got to where we thought was a good spot, and then he started losing all the stuff that he already knew. And so I got really frustrated and scared and just discouraged in all of it, and so we kind of put our brakes on a little bit, and we had been using All About Reading last year, All About Reading Level 1 last year, and we had stopped using it because he was flying through it and it was just kind of clicking really well without us doing the lessons. We were just reading the stories from the books, and so we wanted to give something new a try, and I had heard good things about the IEW PAL program. Well, it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, and so we are now back doing All About Reading Level 1. And he is back to thriving. It's clicking. It's not frustrating. There are great things from the IEW PAL program, and I will definitely use it as a supplement. There's some great games that come with the program, and the phonetic farm is awesome, but it taught sounds too quickly, and so because we were learning something new so fast and not really reading to practice, it was causing a lot of hard times and frustration. So we moved back to All About Reading, and we're really enjoying it, and this is something that we are almost finished with Level 1, and we have already ordered Level 2 because we'll be starting that in September when we come back from our break. So we're moving back to this. We have moved back to this, and it's been really a good thing. Another thing that I mentioned in another video is we bought Sunlight A, and it was great, and it's a great starting point for our family. We are big into science. My son is a huge science fan, and so we got to weather, and he wanted to learn more, and so a week or two of weather, I think it's 2 weeks, was just not enough, and so we decided to stop, and we did a 3 or 4 week unit study on weather, and we really enjoyed it. So now we're picking back up. We're on, I think this week we did week 4 of Sunlight, and next week we'll continue, and we're going to keep going like that with this program. It's a great program for families who who just want to teach science quickly, but we are kind of a slow and go kind of dig in deep kind of science family. So how we're doing this is if this lasts us 2 years, then it lasts us 2 years, and we are just going to slowly plug away through it and do unit studies as we come across them. If my son says, hey, I want to spend a week on volcanoes, then we're going to do that. And we'll come back to the where we left off and then keep going. So that's our plan with this. And so that's something that's a little different than I thought, but tis is homeschool. Something I am learning is you can plan, but life happens and things change. So something else that we have added and changed is my daughter. I had this in the picture of what we would be using with my pre-K daughter, but we weren't planning on using it necessarily. It was just something that we were going to kind of play with a little bit. Well, she got her curriculum's not long enough for her. She wants a lot more attention and a lot more time. So with each letter of the week that her curriculum, the My Father's World pre-K curriculum goes alphabetical order, we are doing the uppercase letter, the uppercase letter, and the lowercase letter that goes along, because in her curriculum it teaches both. And I think she's ready for it. And so I never did this curriculum this far with any of my kids, and it is really, really good. And she is starting to read words. She is starting to pick up how to blend sounds because of this book and the games that it plays with Ziggy, the zebra puppet, which I don't have because the kids love it so much. But this is one that we've added in, and it has been really good. And I highly, 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 highly recommend this. This was, if you've got a pre-reader, or preschool aged kid, get this and start with this before you start actually teaching them reading, because it teaches you blending, it teaches you rhymes, it teaches you all the phonetic awareness and the literary awareness that you need to know prior to starting reading. So I wish we had done this with my son before we started teaching reading, because it just has made life really easy. So this has been really good. All right, so those are the things that we have changed. Something that I have found in the curriculum that I chose, and I knew that I did this, was I picked really teacher-intensive curriculum for my son. The math that we use is really teacher-intensive, and so is all of his language arts. And he is kindergarten, so that's to be expected. But that's really hard when you have 2 other little kids, and so I'm feeling some pressure in that, and it's been hard, and I'm not sure that we'll stick with things the same way for next year. But if you have any tips about using Right Start Math and All About Reading and All About Spelling and getting it all done with your kids, other kids around, I would love those tips. So it's been an interesting time, and thankfully my 3, almost 4-year-old daughter is very patient, and she sits really quietly, and she does what she needs to do, but she's kind of tired of waiting, and so I'm trying to figure out how to best switch our schedule around so that she gets time and then he gets time, and back and forth. The other thing that has come about in the last 2 weeks is that my toddler, my 1.5-year-old, has decided that he wants to drop naps some days, and so that has made our whole homeschool adventure even more of an adventure. I was hoping he would nap longer. He loves his naps, but he has decided that he's not. So we cannot do school in this room. This is our homeschool room. When he is awake, he pulls things off the walls and rips all kinds of things up, and it's just not good. So we are trying to implement some new systems and some new ways of making it work when he's awake. And so in order to do that, I just got a rolling cart from IKEA that I think a lot of homeschool families use. And what we're going to do is we're going to stack it full of all the things that we need for the day and for the week. And then when we have him awake, I can roll it to the front of the house where we can cage him in. Just put a baby gate in the front of the room so that he can just play. And then if he's asleep, then we can roll it back here and get some stuff done. The other thing that we have started to try really hard to do is we're starting a little bit earlier in our day, and we're kind of moving quickly so that we can get all the way through language arts and math before the morning is over on the mornings that he naps. Because as soon as he's up, we can only read a little bit, and there's just a lot of hard stuff. So that is another thing that has caused some trials. I have had really great weeks and really encouraging days and weeks where everyone's doing what they need to do, and everyone's excited, and we're learning, and we're playing, and we're happy. And then there's days that are not that way, and so it's been hard and discouraging. But I was talking to a veteran homeschool friend of mine, and we were just chit-chatting, and I said, this is the most soul-scrubbing thing that I have ever done, probably in my life. My sin is just being like ripped in front of my face, and their sins, and my 3-year-old is good at saying, Mommy, you're not being very nice. And it's very convicting, and sometimes I'm just saying, yeah, I'm not. And it's very hard. And some days it's really fun. And so it's just been hard, and it's been really hard to see that we've got these sinful creatures that are living with us, and they cause us to sin when we shouldn't let them affect us, but they do. There's no way to not let our kids and their reactions affect us. It's just natural for us as women to let those things affect us, and we can combat that with God and with help of that, but it's also just something that's going to be hard to do. I was just reading yesterday, Grace Lace had an Instagram post about how her boys used to be XYZ, and they're becoming just as much as we're becoming, and those things that were hard then are not hard anymore. And my husband and I are not getting very much sleep. We're still up multiple times a night, and so we're tired, and so we're less patient, and so it's just been a season that has been really soul-scrubbing and really challenging, but good all at the same time, and not something that I would ever change for anything at all. The funny thing is that I picked this verse above my head, Joshua 1:9, as our verse, more as an encouragement to my son to not get up and not be discouraged, and don't be afraid of trying new things. And God has really placed it on my heart in the last few weeks that when he calls us to something, if you read the whole chapter of Joshua 1, he was calling Joshua to something big, but he promised that even in the hard stuff to be strong and courageous because God is with him, and to not be discouraged in it and not be afraid. And I've had some days of anxiety and severe fear of stupid things, but they were very fearful to me. And so I've really been meditating on this verse and that whole section of verses from chapter 1, verse 1 through 9, and just meditating on his word, and just living in that, because it's very soul-scrubbing. It's something that, like, if you're teaching your children about God on a daily basis, and you're doing things to encourage them to discipling your children, you are going to be met with Satan's hand of opposition, and he doesn't want us to do it. And so it will be hard, and it will be something that is challenging, but God, because of God, we can be strong and we can be courageous. And so if you're struggling right now as you are going through your journey, I just encourage you to just keep at it and be strong and courageous, and know that if God called you to homeschool, then he is with you, and he knows how hard it can be, and he knows what we're going through, but he wants us to do it. And so I just really encourage you to just keep at it. Another verse that my friend that I was talking to gave me was Galatians 6:9, and it says, "Let us not grow weary of doing good, for in the due season we will reap if we do not give up." And there has been days when I just want to throw my hands up in the air and say, I just can't do this. And it's just too hard. And I've laid on my bed crying and can't cry because my kids are interrupting me. And this verse has been really important to me, that we should not grow weary, because God has called us, and things are not going to change overnight, and reading isn't going to happen in a day, and that's just not how it goes. And so we should not grow weary because we have God. And if we meditate on his word, which is something that I have been lacking in, is memorizing of scripture and just meditating on it throughout the day. If we don't do those things, then we don't have the strength of God, and that we don't have the courage and the strength that we need to continue through, and that we will someday see the harvest, and that it may not be today, it may not be in a year, it may not be for a long time, but if God has called you to it, then he will in turn give you a harvest at some point in time. And so I just want to encourage you, if you are in this journey and you are a newbie like me, or if you're not, that God has you here on a purpose, and he has called you to this. And I just really encourage you to seek him, get into his word every day. I wake up at 5:15 every day so that I can get in my time with God before I have to be on with my kids. And so I just recommend doing that, and just have things up all over the house. I've started hanging verses everywhere because I just need to see it. I need to see it when my 2-year-old is throwing glitter all over the house, which happened yesterday. So I just encourage you to keep at it, and to know that I am here with you. And if you need prayer, and if you need some strength, please comment below. I would love to pray for you, and to know that we're in this together and we can do that. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at Bear Crib Creations. And I don't share a lot about my family because I try and keep that private, but I do share some things that are going on in our homeschool. So if you want to be encouraged there and see things that I'm doing to be in my time with the Lord, I share those things there as well. And if you want to see more videos like this about what God's teaching me in this homeschool journey, please subscribe. And I'm not in it for the numbers. I just want to share our journey I want to remember this stuff because it's so easy to forget. But I also want to encourage you. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope this verse, or not this verse, but these verses that I shared, but this video was encouraging to you. And I will be seeing you soon. Bye.